Battle of the Challenges podcast with Vincent Cloud
and David Lauer.
And this is the Duel, the final recap, man. This is over with.
The finale.
It's done. There's no going back. This is our last chance to right some wrongs over the season.
Are we sure we don't want to go back? Maybe we'll just start at number 1 again, and then we'll re-critique everything we've seen.
Leading up to this again?
Yes.
No. Let's close it off, because for our true fans to tune in every time we drop a podcast, they know that this final is about 3 weeks late, god damn it. And it's not my fault. And it's not Dave's fault either. It's education's fault. Higher education's fault.
No, it's George Washington, it's Thomas Jefferson, it's Benjamin Franklin. It's the founding fathers of our nation's fault. Because they created this capitalist system that we live in, and therefore I must get a higher education to make money. So I've been in school, therefore I've been choosing homework over the challenge, which I'm not even sure that it's the right decision to make, you know? Because the challenge is better than school in so many ways. The challenge is amazing. It's all I need. I don't need money. I don't need smarts. I just need the challenge.
And we mentioned before, like, you started watching the challenges ahead of time. Like, you didn't ask me, you just started watching them. And now, you know a lot. You got a lot of information on you now.
I realized that, like, Robin, who was super likable this year, not very likable in other seasons. In fact, quite unlikable.
And Wes's main motivation to win is almost moot afterwards. Yeah. That's interesting as well.
It's silly and just like shaking your head like, okay.
Silly? I wouldn't say it was silly.
Johanna is a silly person.
Oh.
To get caught up with.
I suppose. I mean, well, love isn't silly, but I guess the person you love turned out to be not worth it.
No,
you know,
I'm not saying love is silly, Vince. Don't misconstrue my words. Johanna is silly.
Yeah. Let's actually get into it, though. We actually have the final four sitting around in a table at the very beginning of the episode, and Brad is saying, "You know what? I'm really happy with the final four right now. I gotta say, I'm glad who got here. You know, I'm glad to be in its company, mixed company."
I think by that he just was happy that CT wasn't there.
Each saying their motivations, their reasoning behind being there or wanting the money. Brad is saying, I'm building a house right now. I actually have my own company, a construction company. I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Someone with an actual job. You really need more money?
Yes.
Come on, man.
Yeah. I mean,
it's like the 1% holding us down again.
And then next is Jody. She's like, I have a couple charities in mind that I would like to give some money to. I've considered myself a very selfless person, but I've never once thought of contributing any money to charity, even when I had a load of money. I mean, I was once rich, audience. I once had quite a bit of money, but I never once thought to give to any charities.
Neither did Jody, because Jody said, I would like to give money to charity. Well, okay, name them. She doesn't name any, so obviously she doesn't know any that she would donate to.
What?
Like, it seemed like she was just trying to say a nice thing, like, oh, there's a couple charities I would donate to. It's like, well, if there are, why would you not say, like, is it cancer research, mentally disabled? There's a bunch of different avenues where you could donate money to, but she didn't name any names. What are you going to do with your money? She didn't have a good answer, and she's like, I'm going to donate it.
I want to agree with you, but at the same time, I feel like the fact that Jody mentions charities at all fits her personality, which is kind of lame to me. She's not flashy and she's not bitchy. She's not anything. She's just a good physical player. And whenever she's on camera, she's dull as dirt. She's like, well, I hope I win this. This 2-minute lead is going to help, but you never know. That's fine, I guess. And then she's saying like, well, I'll contribute it to charity. I'm like, okay, well, that's kind of cool, but at the same time, kind of lame. I want you to be like, oh, well, no, I'm going to build myself a fucking rocket or something. Something to make her stand out. Her mentioning charities, I believed it. I can't remember the last time any challenger in the history of the challenges have ever mentioned donating to charity. That's why I kind of believe it.
Is it possible she's like Richie Rich and she already has money and she's just like, I'm doing this for fun in the competition and I don't really need the money?
She did win Gauntlet 2. So maybe she's like, I already have money. Any extra money I get, if I win this, it's going to go to charities. Every time she says anything to the camera, I'm like, yeah, I believe you. And I believe that you're that doll. So Not that donating to charity is dull, but it's not exciting either.
And keep in mind that this challenge, it's Brad versus Wes and Svetlana versus Jody, so it's 1-on-1. Second place, you get nothing. First place gets 150,000. In a lot of other challenges, sometimes you're splitting, maybe it's 200,000 between 4 people or 5 people or something like that.
Yep.
This, you're getting a lump sum of 150,000, so that is a big chunk of change. So she could definitely want to donate money, and you can donate, $10,000, and that's a hell of a lot more than I'm ever going to donate in my life to any kind of charity.
Okay, so let's get to Svetlana.
Yeah, Svetlana says she wants to get a boob job with her money. No, wait. No, too late.
No.
Got that done.
She wants to go through med school so she can give the boob jobs.
Oh.
That's what I assume. I mean, she just said med school. I don't know what she wants to do.
Did she say med school?
She was like,
sometimes I don't listen to her. I just stare at her. Guilty.
You're taking my lines.
Sorry.
But no, she said if I win this, that means I don't have to deal with all the med school bills. I'm like, oh shit, she wants to be like a doctor? That's awesome. All right, Wes is like, this money means a big ring and the beginning of my life with Johanna.
Yeah, it was like such a respectable, noble, great thing that like he wants this money for his future wife and his future life. Knowing what happens in the future with them and seeing Johanna, it's just like, really? I can't believe how much. I don't know. We're not there. All we see is what happens on the show. So we just have that tainted point of view and that jaded point of view where it's just like, what the fuck are you thinking? She's not a catch at all. Is she hot? Yes. Does she have any depth to her character? Hell no. At least that's what I take away from it.
That's true, but then some people could say, does Wes have any depth? And then maybe then they're compatible. But let's move on. Let's get off of everyone's motivations. Let's get to the actual final. It's going to start at 6:45 in the morning.
Yeah, up and ready. Well, they had to get ready for that chopper ride.
The helicopter shows up. They get to fly by the big statue of Jesus. Yeah. That's kind of cool. Very famous hippie who's like, hey man, love everybody, man. That's what I'm saying, man.
Magic flip-flops help me walk on water, bro. What's that? You're blind? Not anymore. He was basically David Blaine 2,000 years ago going around.
Jesus, you're a mind freak. That's not the same magician, you bastard.
It's Chris Angel, damn it. I'm better than it.
All right. Helicopter going through. That's cool. I like it. It's a little bit of fun for everyone. They land, and Wes is saying, this is going to be an experience of a lifetime. I cannot wait to be old, drinking beers with Brad, talking about this crazy thing we're about to do. I like that line because, Wes is sitting there with Brad, his opponent, who he should be like, fuck you, man, I'm going to win. But he's like, I can't wait till we're old. And we're like, remember when we did that shit? Who knows who won? I mean, they'll know at the end. Because one's going to be in a retirement home and one's going to own the retirement home, maybe. And TJ's
But something to say about that is the fact that all of these competitors, like they said in that Final Four little meeting the night before, is they all like each other and there's no animosity.
But leading up to it, they were involved in 2 separate alliances. Jody and Brad were part of the Drama Mafia. Mm-hmm. Brad by happenstance because he was friends with Jody, but she was Drama Mafia. Then there was Wes and Svetlana. They were Beth's alliance. So for 2 of them, both boy and girl from each are in the end. That's kind of cool thematically.
But they're like both nice people and they get along still. They're not like harboring anything against each other.
Yeah.
And as we've seen in other challenges, sometimes those alliances, they run so deep that they fracture friendships and stuff like that. But that never really happened here. There was 2 sides with the voting, but it never got ugly.
Yeah, and that's kind of the beauty of this season, of these early seasons, where it wasn't that backstabby. It wasn't negative and shit. Not like Battle of the Exes 2, which we covered previously. And that's, again, another, promo. Check out Battle of the Exes 2.
Follow, subscribe, yeah.
So finally, the helicopter lands. TJ's there with his white button-down shirt.
The weird hat.
And the weird hat.
And a big old grin and smile on his face.
Yeah, because, real weed, bro. Oh, fuck.
He's like, he's a stoner. No one would ever think that.
TJ's like, welcome to the Rio Deal. Oh, get it? Oh, fuck. Me and the boys, we were laughing our asses off the whole night. This is what you guys are gonna run. The Rio Deal. Get it? And they're like, yeah, we get it. Sober out, TJ, please.
Ooh, it's a pun.
It's the Rio Deal. They're gonna go through the Chichinga Forest. But before they start this off, it ties into Brazil. It's totally appropriate. What's the most popular sport there?
Soccer.
Soccer.
Actually, that's a lie. Most popular sport, football.
Okay, yeah.
Or
So
as Americans call it, soccer.
it comes down to 5 soccer balls. You have to defend, and whoever wins out of this will get a 2-minute lead in the final.
A lot of times they do something that gives at least, one of the teams a little bit of a head start. Because the finals, they involve endurance, a puzzle, and then also a skill. And sometimes that skill is swimming. And some people can't swim. This time it's soccer. Sometimes they're in a kayak, and that's a skill too, because a lot of people can't freaking paddle their way through water.
That's a good point.
So, I mean, it's kind of a reoccurring thing in other finals, but they always use a different type of skill.
Whoever can kick best out of these 5 soccer balls will get the 2-minute advantage. TJ looks to Wes and Jody. He's like, Wes, Jody, since you guys won the last mission, you guys get to decide who will defend first and who will go for the kicks first. Jody gets to decide. And she's like, you know what? I'll let Svetlana go first. So Svetlana gets up there. The first kick, Jody actually blocks it. It's actually kind of high, but she still blocks it. An unnecessary block. I don't think it would have went in.
I think it could have. It could have hit the post and bounced down.
Svetlana goes for her second ball. She actually makes it in. Good for her. Third ball, Jody blocks it with her knee. Fourth ball, it's way outside. And then now she has one more ball to go. So she's got 1 point, but she needs more than that, right? You gotta give it your all. She goes for the fifth ball. It's blocked by Jody. So she's got 1 point. Now it's Jody's turn. She's gonna kick. Her first 3 kicks are wildly outside. It even hits the cameraman on the one of them.
Yeah, it was nuts. She was just going all power, and it was everywhere.
So first 3 are complete misses. Fourth kick goes right into the goal. Svetlana was like, I thought it was going to go outside again. But it didn't. It was like right in that little corner.
Perfectly placed.
Oh, yeah.
Perfectly placed.
Yeah. So she's tied with Svetlana. She needs 1 more for that 2-minute advantage. She does 1 more kick, makes it in.
She has a 2-minute advantage.
Svetlana's like, this sucks because Jody's a runner. And I hope that just my mere hunger for the money is going to help me beat her.
By that hunger, that means, who wants it more?
I'm like, oh, geez, so far. It's like, Jody's better at this. Jody's a runner. You're not. Jody gets that 2-minute head start. And all she has to say is like, well, I can't be too overconfident. I haven't won it yet. I'm like, there's no color to it. There's no character. She's winning, sure, and that's what athletes say when they're talking to the interviewer. Like, well, all we gotta do is put her head down, do the work. They're kind of boring. They're just like generic, and that's what Jody has displayed once again. Now we're to the dudes. Wes is like, I chose Brad to go first because I know he's a complete and utter amateur at the sport. So Brad goes up there. His first kick is outside. His second kick, Wes actually blocks. His third kick, outside once again. His fourth kick, I mean, come on, he's got to fucking make this. He's got 2 more balls left. It's blocked, so he's got 1 more ball left. Focus, and he makes it. Good for him. He's got 1 point. 1 point leading into this. So now it's Wes's turn. And he's just laughing. He's like, this is going to be ridiculous. I can do it left-footed and beat him. And he comes up, he's kicking up the soccer ball like Pele, just like kneeing it, kicking it up with his heel. And he really has played the sport before.
It's a super unfair advantage that he has such a background playing soccer. In other challenges where they have to swim, Wes had an advantage because he was a good swimmer. But swimming is a physical thing that you sometimes have to do. Like a soccer, it's such a specialized thing.
Yes.
Who knew that he was good at soccer? He probably played it all through high school.
I mean, you can't really put it against him because it, again, ties into the theme of Brazil. If it was in Australia and it was like, whoever could throw this boomerang. Yeah, whoever could throw the boomerang.
I was going to say kangaroo. I'm like, no, that's the other Australian thing.
Whoever could throw this boomerang into a kangaroo's pouch and kill the roo wins.
Like a shrimp on the bobby.
Yeah, shrimp on the bobby. Yeah. And
moving on.
all right, so Wes comes up, he's kicking it. It's great.
And then boom, there's 2 kicks, and it was
two kicks
over.
in a row, over and done with.
Yeah, and you could tell, like, he's like pinpointing exactly where he wants to kick it, and he just nails it both times.
Yeah,
like, oh.
He doesn't necessarily like point it out like Babe Ruth, but he definitely fucking yeah. All right, so Wes has this advantage. He says, "I have a feeling 2 minutes won't be that helpful. If I underestimate Brad for a second, he will beat me," which I appreciated because he's being very grounded right now. He's being very realistic. Brad is a very good competitor.
Yeah,
Do not underestimate him.
Yeah, he's not underestimating him.
This is the time where Wes and Jody have their 2-minute lead. Svetlana and Brad, however, have to stand there whistling Dixie, as Svetlana says. Is that a song? That's an actual song, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where it's like, I wish I was in Dixie, hooray, hooray. Like that. Isn't that the song? No?
That might be the song, I'm not sure. But yeah, it's just biding your time. It's a term that's been used so many times that I don't even know the meaning of it.
It was a funny line that didn't deserve to look into because you're just going to ruin it.
Yeah.
which is what we just did.
Exactly. Let's move on.
All right, so they take off with a 2-minute lead. So they're going up this mountain. Like, we actually see it eventually when the helicopter is flying over. You can see the puzzle pieces. It's at the top of this giant fucking mountain.
Is it a true mountain? There's no snow caps on the top. Come on.
All right, hill then.
It's a bluff.
It's more than a hill. A bluff?
Yeah.
Svetlana was bluffing that it was a mountain when it was a hill. I want to point this out. Jody is in the lead of Wes. Jody's a faster runner up this hill. She actually gets to the puzzle cubes before Wes does. So they get to the puzzle cubes, and they're like, you have to take 1 cube at a time, race it up the top of the hill, we'll call it.
One mountain. Come on, we're just giving the mountain shit. We don't have to demean it that much.
1 cube at a time. So that's pretty strenuous. Up and down. Finally, it's Brad and Svetlana's turn, so they take off. And from this point on, it's kind of like Jody's in the lead the entire time, going back and forth. Wes is right behind her. Brad is right behind Wes. Svetlana is right behind Brad. And they're just going back and forth, putting these cubes up into this puzzle. The puzzle says you have to align. Jody explains it as a Rubik's Cube.
And this, you're just trying to make sure none of the colors line up.
It's pretty vertical from the footage that I've seen. You're running almost straight down with like nothing stopping you. Your own momentum. You're
That's the thing, like running uphill is completely draining and it's going to take the shit out of you. But you can't discount going downhill because downhill is super difficult too because if you fuck up at all, you're going to land on your face and you're going to be hurt really bad. So you have to be just as aware and physically conscious of what you're doing going downhill. By
the time that they got to the cubes in the beginning, like Svetlana, Brad, I think all of them, they were just like, holy shit, this is kind of hard. But little did they know they'd have to repeat this. With these cubes, they're really big. Easier for the guys to carry, but it looked like...
For the girls, it's going to be harder because they're smaller. And I mean, well, Jody's arms are really long. Svetlana's arms aren't as long. So it's really hard for Svetlana to hold on to those damn things. She's taking him, trying to throw it up the hill and then run after it and then throw it again.
Finally, Jody gets her 4th cube to the top of the mountain. And she's standing there, and Wes is right behind her. And she's like, Wes, before you put that 4th cube down, you have to realize that once you put it down, that's when your 30 minutes starts. Because you only get 30 minutes to solve the puzzle. So Jody's actually being really helpful to Wes.
I didn't realize that when I watched it. Huh.
Yeah. By this time, they're trying to solve their puzzle. And Wes solves it first. So he throws the puzzle pieces down to the ground. He's like, holy shit, I got it solved. I'm off to the next obstacle. So he takes off. And he's running down the hill. He looks back. Brad has been tailing him the whole entire time down the hill. He's like, fuck. Because you can see Wes past the camera that's on the rock, and then Brad past the rock right then and there. So they're nearly neck and neck.
So if that 2 minutes hadn't happened...
And now they're running down, and then they get to the teeter-totter part, which I thought was really awesome. I really like this. You have to stand on one side of the teeter-totter while there's this big box that holds all these rocks. You had to fill in the rocks. You have to basically, like, all right, how much do I weigh? But then you have to balance for 5 seconds.
Yep.
And you're done. You take off and you're on to the next thing. Wes gets there and he's trying to balance. Brad gets there.
It was kind of like Wes took off, but Brad was still in the middle of doing it.
Exactly. He sees Wes taking off. He can't just run after him. No, he has to throw in more rocks. He's not being truthful to how much he actually weighs. Brad's not willing to admit that he weighs a little bit more. So Brad has to...
That's what it was at all. I think he was just playing the game as it was dealt to him. I don't think he was questioning his weight. He's a little
He's
bit
not being
behind
a
him.
girl about it.
Yeah, you can tell he's antsy and he wants to get it done because he knows I gotta get going.
Because you have to load those blocks, you have to sit there, and balancing, it requires so much patience, so much Zen-like concentration, where you just gotta calm yourself, balance out, and there you go. Brad balances out with that, he jumps off it, he has to run up those stairs after Wes. So back at the puzzle cubes, Jody actually shows us some personality, and by personality I mean like she's not Mrs. Cool Cucumber. She's actually like, I don't know what the fuck to do. Yeah. The first time we've ever actually seen her frustrated at all. She's always winning. She always knows what to do.
You said Jody showing personality, and immediately my face was just like, what?
Well, what's the
I don't ever remember her showing personality, but yeah, there was one time where she actually, like, her emotions...
Emotion, I guess.
Her emotions, you said it right, personality, emotions. I've never seen her do anything, and I'm like, I don't even recall her doing it, but yeah, she did. It's surprising.
Yeah, I was just like, oh, wow, whoa. Who is this Jody chick? Can we see more of her?
Yeah, but it was only like a second and a half clip, though, because we can't OD on Jody having any personality.
Yeah, they cut to a commercial, actually. Then they cut back. So finally, with 4 minutes left of their 30 minutes, Jody solves the puzzle. She takes up. Svetlana, however, is there with the puzzle, and she times out. So now Jody's 4 minutes ahead of her. Never mind the 2 minutes ahead of her before. This is getting worse and worse for Svetlana. So she takes off. They're off to the teeter-totter part of it. So now we cut to Wes and Brad. They're running up the hill. They don't know what they're running to. They just know that they're running. Wes gets up to the top of these stairs. He looks over to the right around this corner, and there's the final flag right there. He grabs it. He won. It's done. There's some hang gliders waiting for him.
It was a little weird watching it because I was like, is this the end? Are they there? And it seemed that way for Wes, too. Like, there's a flag.
Yeah.
You grab it and you're like, alright, so I won, it's over? It's like, come on, like... Make it a little more obvious.
Yeah, and production's like, no, man, you won, but not yet. You actually have to hang glide down to TJ, who's waiting on the beach for you.
The hang gliding was the prize, because the other people had to fucking walk down that mountain.
Oh, that's a good point.
The hang gliding had nothing to do with winning it, like, you still have to do this. It's like, no, this is your reward. As terrifying as it might be, you don't have to walk back down this fucking godforsaken mountain again.
Brad, he comes up the hill. He sees that the flag has been taken already by Wes. He's so defeated. He grabs the sign for support, but it just falls down because it's like, flimsy.
Yeah, thanks, production.
Yeah, it's like, God. So he's like, you know what? It doesn't disappoint me as much as the fact that it came down to a soccer kickoff. And this means more to me than anybody will ever know.
I completely sympathize with Brad here. As much as I can justify the reason that they had the soccer thing, I still feel like when you look at it as a whole, looking back at it, the fact that it came down to that, it seems bullshit. It's not right for something like simple as that to like, okay, this final challenge, the winner goes to the person who's best at soccer? Because they were equal at everything. They were equal at the puzzle, at the running up and down the mountain, except for the soccer thing. That's what Wes was better at. So basically the final was just a soccer match. That 2 minutes, it was too much to overcome. But Brad, ideally, he could have been ahead this entire time. And then been defending a lead rather than trying to gain a lead. And it sucks. And it just comes down to how, this time it was soccer, if you're not good at it, you get the short end of the stick. Other times, it comes down to swimming.
Yeah, and those are two of Wes's fortes. It's not like the producers were like, how can we get Wes to win? It just, the cards fell how they did, and But let's get back to the girls because they're still running this thing. By the way, Jody gets to the teeter totter. She starts balancing herself. She gets the 5 seconds, takes off up the stairs. Svetlana gets there. Jody's long gone by now, but she does the balancing thing. Finally gets there. She runs up the stairs. So then we cut to Jody. She gets up to the hill. She sees the flag that she hasn't even tugged the flag down, by the way. She just starts to cry because she knows that she's already won. She swore earlier. This is the most she's given us this entire season. If you're ever going to give it, why not in the final, I suppose?
She's not an emotional wreck. She's just an emotional rock where she's never going to break. And that's why she's so good. She's good in all the missions. She's good in the challenge because she's just emotionally super level headed and she doesn't get overexcited or down and depressed over something or erratic in any way.
Yeah.
And that's what really helped her this season. That's what helped her in this final. I mean, she didn't melt down in the final because she couldn't get the puzzle. She freaked out a little bit and yelled, but she still managed to stay focused and finish it.
But we loved it. We were like, yes! What else do you have to say, Jody? But that was about it. She gets on the hang glider and she takes off. By the way, when Wes was taking off, Brad was like, good game, Wes. Good game. And we said before how if Wes was ever going to beat Brad, Mr. Fair and Square, you'd have to beat him fair and square. He beat Brad, but on a soccer kickoff. I feel like Wes broke the rules. He broke the spell of Brad, where you're like, you can't piss off Brad. When he gets pissed off, you lose. You go home. That's what happened to Beth. That's what happened to Robin. And that's what happened to CT.
It was Brad's fault for not getting pissed off enough.
Maybe that's what it was. It was only till later that the JEK were like, bullshit, Brad, you should have won because you technically finished the final faster than Wes, but because of the 2-minute penalty, you didn't. This is funny because a lot of these cast members say this during interviews. They're like, when it comes to production, they tell you right up front, they're like, this isn't a game show. This is a show. So we're going to throw in twists all the time.
Yep.
You're on this show. We're paying you to get here.
Yeah.
But you're playing our shit. Let's get back to the girls for a second. Svetlana comes up the stairs. She sees that the flag is gone. She's like, oh, I lost. That's the delivery. Exactly. Verbatim.
She kind of knew she was behind it all the time. She knew she wasn't going to catch up.
She was 4 minutes behind on the cubes. So I guess she couldn't be that shocked, you know. But she's like, I was the underdog from Key West. We mentioned how like Key West was the bottom of the barrel at the beginning of the season. She's like, look at me, I'm here in the top 2. I'm in the final. I lost a lot of cash, but you know, let this be the worst thing to happen to me. And I was like, hey, that's nice. I like what you said there, Svetlana.
You like what she said?
Let this be the worst thing to happen to me? I felt that was very centered. That was a very mature way to take a loss. She hugs Brad. They both losers. They hug each other.
And she's not going to get any money from medical school, so she'll never be a doctor. Like, a surprise was all. I'm sure she's still not a doctor to this day.
She's talking about paying for med school. Maybe it's like afterwards. Maybe she's already graduated, but she's like, oh my god, I'm in debt like all of the rest of America.
It kind of sucks that there's only one-on-one. For this final, there's no first, second, third. Because then first would get something, second would get something, and third place would get something.
I think it makes it more real.
Yeah, it makes it more all or nothing. You know?
Because Brad won a motorcycle in this season. He's got that. Yeah.
They should have been able to use those motorcycles on the way up the mountain.
Yeah.
See how far it can take you before you get stuck.
Both second place people have prizes. So finally, Wes lands on the hang glider at the beach where TJ's there with the big checks. He hugs TJ. He's like, oh my god, 150,000. And Wes is in the confessional now. He's like, I won. Just me. I beat all odds. I worked hard. I deserve this. But there's many people that deserve this as well. Cut to Evan and then the rest of the cast. But I'm like, that was a good cut. Cut to Evan first. Because he was like my MVP leading up to this, and then he got cut off. Jody gets to the bottom as well. She gets the big check. She's like, this has been my favorite season thus far. Not because I won, but because of the friends that I made during this season. So anyways, they finally get their checks. Jody's like crying. She's like, this changes my life. It would change anyone's life, but what can I say? And Wes is like, I have no idea what to say, but Johanna, I love you. I did this for us. and I want to spend the rest of my life with you. And he starts to cry, he starts to break down once again, maybe for the wrong reasons, or wrong girl in this case. That gives the final something. That gives the final some emotion, an emotional punch.
Even if things didn't work out with Johanna, he still has to give her some credit for him winning because it seemed like such a motivational factor for him in winning. It was his drive. That was the whole reason this season. He's like, I got this girl at home that I love her so much, and I'm gonna win it for her,
Yeah.
and that drove him to a victory.
That's it. Wes is the winner this season. Jody is the winner this season.
Well, one thing I do want to mention about this final is let's look at the participants in it. Brad and Svetlana, the two losers, why were those losers there? Is it because the production of the challenge had this flag with a carabiner that was just like, oh, you rip the flag off the carabiner and you lose?
That's true.
It's like Beth was a better competitor than Svetlana, it seemed like, but Svetlana managed to beat her on the technicality. Brad ended up beating CT on the technicality of the flag and the carabiner. Brad and Svetlana were like, I was a little happy that both of them lost because of the fact that I didn't feel like they deserved to be there to begin with. I felt like CT and Beth were more suited to be there.
And had Beth gone against Jody, that would have been a lot more exciting. And
Yeah.
CT against Wes, that would have been a lot more exciting.
It would have.
Totally. Just like last season, we're going to have an award show. Basically, the best actor, best supporting actor, best actress, best supporting actress. But it's MVP challengers, supporting MVP challengers, males, females. MVP female awards. The nominees are as follows.
For this season, I feel like it was Robin. It was
Oh
to
my
me,
God.
it was always between Robin and Jody all the time, and like I thought Robin was great this season. I don't know, I found her more likable than Jody, but ultimately, like they seemed like they were equal competitors the entire time. The likability went in Robin's favor. I would say she was the MVP. Like watching
Wow.
other seasons, I absolutely like have such disdain for Robin. Like as everyone says, she's always paranoid, unsure of herself. She never has any confidence in herself, and she's always like on the defense. And it's so obvious to everyone else that it turns them against her, and it ends up being a self-fulfilling prophecy for her. But this season, she wasn't like that. She was very good, and this is the first season I watched her in. I loved her in it. I was like, I wish she was like this every season.
She was really good this season, but this was her only season. I'm shocked that you're throwing her up for MVP. I mean, why not supporting MVP? But still, this is going back to the beginning of the season where I'm like, I want to treat this like this is 2006. Like I'm watching it for the first time, so I don't know how she's going to transpire. She was very good this season. Both of us will admit that. Even the stats will admit that. She was top 3 many times. And she also made waves in terms of her personality. I mean, she got into that whole thing with Anissa, and then she was kind of like, oh, yawning and shit. We were like, that's kind of funny. I have no choice but to throw out Jody up there. She's won 7 missions this season.
Yeah, she was always up there, one of the best ones.
The other nominee I would throw up there is Diem. Diem won 3 missions, and yet she also had an alliance. So did Jody and Robin. They were in the same alliance, but she also captured our hearts. In terms of personality, I mean, she was tens.
It seemed like in the beginning she stuck around and didn't get voted in because she was likable.
Because of the likability.
Because of her cancer situation, people didn't want to throw her in to go against her. It seemed like she wasn't worthy of being there at first, but then she slowly seemed to prove that she was worthy of being there, which really got us on her side. I totally got behind her at the end, where it was like, yeah, she deserves to be here. She is good.
Could we even throw Svetlana up as MVP, or is she just strictly supporting?
I mean, she's either or. I mean,
Either
she
or.
got to the final, so that puts her in the category.
Well, she could be nominated for both. That's fine. All right, so now we have Jody, Robin, Svetlana, and Diem. Who gets it? I think Jody, physically, she dominated the season. 7.
Yep.
No other girl even came close to her. In terms of personality, she had almost none, though. So that might be counting against her. You cried, you swore in the final, but I'm like, I still don't know you. You want to donate to charity, yet I wouldn't. You know what I mean? So there's no connection. Who's the face? If you're going to put them on the Duel cover, you want Robin there? even though she's eliminated like halfway through.
Well, that's asking something different. If I'm looking at who is the best person for this season, like who was the person that I would make the face of it, that would probably end up being Diem because he's the most memorable. Diem deserves to be the best because at first it was just her likability and her being a very nice person. Then she won 3 missions. She proved herself having great endurance and she was more of an athlete than you really would have thought she would have been. And then her relationship with CT, she was so damn likable. And the fact that CT is like this big, brutish, caveman, basically, the way she was able to tame him, they worked together so well. It was like a moment, and we all could tell watching it that it was a moment between two people in a life, and it was never going to be recreated, and then it never did. And it was just a moment in time that was amazing. You can't discount her.
With that being said, Beth needs to be nominated for supporting female.
Yeah.
She was the main character of the first half until she was eliminated. Yeah. So why don't we give Beth supporting and Diem best? Why don't we give Diem top honors and then best supporting honors? She ruled every episode she was on. She was the focus. And she was the leader of that alliance, that second alliance. The challenge was separated into 2 alliances, Beth's alliance and the Drama Mafia. So Beth gets supporting. She deserved it.
This whole beginning of the season, I just felt like this was the show of Beth.
Yeah.
It was Beth's season. I had never watched her on a season before, and she just dominated. Like a moth to a flame. We were all drawn in, just like Nehemiah. It was out of our control.
Yeah, we were all her little tenderoni.
And you can argue that Beth would have stuck around a lot longer if it wasn't for the flag and the carabiner.
And Svetlana calling her out. MVP males. My 3 nominations is going to be no surprise. Wes, CT, and Evan.
The person I would give the MVP to is not even listed there. Brad. To me, the nominations go to the 2 people in the final. My nominations for best go to Wes, Brad, and then that 3rd nomination gets split between CT and Evan. I just like Brad because he's just a super nice guy, likability, Diem factor, where you just like the person and they play the game very clean, that I'm rooting for him the whole time. And that's why he's kind of my MVP in my mind, where I'm just getting behind him and I'm rooting for him.
This is why I nominate Wes, CT, and Evan. You could say Evan should get MVP because he won 6 times. If you count wrestling logic, where like if you pin this guy, that means you're the champ. So CT beat Evan. Wes beat CT overall. Evan, he fought his way through so many missions to win, and he also fought his way into the nomination. He was so good this season where it was a shock when CT beat him. You have no idea. It's a match point. You have no idea who's going to win. Mm-hmm. Evan never should have put himself in that situation. And that's why he gets a little lower.
Yep, that's the biggest thing against him is that was a bad political move.
And that's why
put yourself up against such a strong competitor.
Yes. Why did he challenge CT? Wes made that deal. He was like, hey, I'll take out Derek and Brad if you take out CT. Evan bought that bullshit, challenged CT, got beat. CT, he's won 3. He's also given us the Diem relationship. I mean, that's MVP right there. Personality, he's 5 stars.
Yep.
You put Wes in there because not only did he get to the final, but he went into a duel with Derek, which was amazing. He also won 2 of the most important missions to get to the final.
Swimming.
Yeah, swimming. Soccer. He also has great lines.
Yeah, he's just likable because he's so entertaining and he's always got something relevant to say.
And I found it curious that Brad ends up in MVP. I would put him in supporting. Sure, he was funny in terms of like how annoyed he got with everyone in the house because he was the older male. He was like, "What the fuck are you guys doing?" You know what I mean?
Maturity wise, he's definitely more mature. Yeah, I always viewed him as like the young, mature guy, but
mature nonetheless. He knows that all this is chaos. All these people are assholes.
It's like I have to weather this storm while I'm here, but like none of this.
And he did. So he deserves the nomination, but at the same time, like it's supporting because in terms of missions, it was always Evan, CT, and Wes.
Yeah, you're talking me out of it. Like Brad probably isn't the MVP. My winner is clear cut, and I was gonna give him best supporting as CT.
Give him MVP.
Yeah, if those are the nominees, because I was gonna give him supporting, but maybe he is just the best overall person because he got screwed over on the technicality of the flag and the carabiner. If we're talking wrestling logic, CT beat Evan clean, and then Brad beat CT, but it was not a clean finish. It was like you had the referee got knocked out, and you had another referee come down, and then he counted to three, but it was like, come on, this isn't right. I would throw in for CT and say that he was great in all the challenges, but he's also super likable. The fact that he fell in love with Diem, and I would enjoy the season more if it was Wes versus CT in that final, hands down. It would have been a lot better. Just like it would have been better if it was Jody versus Robin or Jody versus Beth. I feel like Wes already won the season. He doesn't need to win MVP too. Come on.
So CT MVP?
Yeah.
He did carry a lot of the season. I mean, Wes came in at the very end. You know what I mean? He capitalized. He was the Seth Rollins of that triple threat match.
Yeah, he cashed in his Money in the Bank contract.
Who gets supporting?
With the Oscars, you have your main actors, your leading role, and then the ones who are supporting are completely different nominees. If Wes lost, he's not going to be the best actor. He's not going to be supporting actor. So when we're doing that, we're only nominating Brad Evans. So then best supporting would probably go to Evan.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'm fine with it.
I love Evan.
All right, so in the end, we have CT winning Best Challenge Award, Evan winning Best Supporting,
Diem
winning Best Female Award, and what did we say, Beth? For Best Supporting. Or Beth Supporting.
Best Supporting Actress.
So if you like this episode, subscribe, like, comment if you want, but at the same time I realized I hardly ever respond to the comments.
Vince is not going to reply back, so don't expect him to.
Unless it strikes a chord in me where you're like, Vince, you're a dumb son of a bitch. How could you let Dave rule the award show?
That's kind of smart. Just preface all of your comments with Vince, you dumb son of a bitch, and then just say whatever you want.
Overall, I would say this season was really good. It had a stacked cast. They did extremely well.
I really like this season. I mean, my one issue is probably the fact that I don't feel like there was the drama side of it. There was the Beth Alliance and the Drama Mafia, but that drama of it never seemed to get personal on any level other than kind of the Robin and Anissa stuff that seemed to kind of get personal. I always enjoy stuff that really gets personal and really gets people worked up.
And this is not the season to get personal. I mean, this is one of those innocent seasons. They didn't really get that dark until what's after this? Inferno 3, not too much. And then you get to the Gauntlet 3, maybe then, because that was the male saying we gotta trim the fat, meaning all females are horrible. So that's the beginning. And then after that it's the Island, which is horrible because it's all bloodthirsty and shit. And then
backstabbing.
Duel 2 is the same, Ruins is the same, Fresh Meat 2. So basically the Duel is the last pure hey, let's have fun before it all goes to shit. So you know what, it's something to cherish. Dave, you're going away for a while. You might come back for Bloodlines, let's hope. I'm going to cover other seasons after this. I'm covering the Gauntlet. I am Vincent Cloud.
I'm David Lauer.
See you on the flip side.
I'm Vincent Cloud. I'm David Lauer. Punchline.